Hello, Clif. Hello.
Hello?
Clif.
Hello. I'm
Hello,
doing.
Clif. Yeah, do you hear me? Do you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, my name is Gerald. I'm marketing manager of Coin. So Ruslan is ready, right?
I need to get some software tools arranged here, so about 2 minutes or so.
Okay. Should we recall you or what?
No, this is fine. Just hang on. Let me.
Okay, but we don't see you.
Yeah, just a minute. Just a minute.
Okay.
Working that now.
But do you hear me clearly?
I do hear you clearly. Yes, I can see you fine. I'm trying to get some of this other stuff out of the way. Too many background processes running.
Okay.
So take me just a minute to get these gone.
Mm-hmm.
Quit that. And I have to do my control panel now, and we should be fine. Okay, let's see.
And also, Cliff, we want to record two in case of emergency, you know?
Yes, we should both record. We're having problems here with connection. I need to also...
I have requested record.
Yeah, just a second. Let's see. There we go.
Yeah, see you. See you.
Okay, so we should be recording. You should hear me?
Yeah, yep. But I don't know how to record this conversation.
Just a second.
Here is a button. Like
down at the down at the bottom there should be a button that says video.
Please request recording permission from the meeting host.
Right. So you click that, and then I send you permission. Then you can record.
Yeah. I'm clicking OK. So have we got?
It's taking a second here. I'm waiting for. Let's see. Allow record.
Oh, yeah. Okay, got it.
Should be good. It shows you're recording now, and it shows I've got a recording going as well.
Okay, I'm calling the Ruslan, okay?
I'm sorry?
I'm calling Ruslan.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Hi, Cliff.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. This is not my computer, so okay. Все. Вот так делать. Вот это? Вот так. Okay, you hear me clearly?
I hear you clearly, yes.
Okay, good.
Last time what had happened was we had a new version of Skype, and XSplit Broadcaster didn't recognize some of its encoding, so it dropped my voice because you had called me, and then your voice was entirely out of sync with your face. And so this didn't work. So we've got to do it all over again. However, you know, we'll be better.
Hope so.
Hope so. Okay, so we're both recording now. I'm showing that we've got good progress recording on both sides, so you'll have a copy of this as well. Should anything happen here, you can upload, so we're covered there. Let me quickly introduce Ruslan here. He is the CEO of our SND coin, ICO. This is all about sand. And briefly, most people don't understand that sand is not plentiful. And there's basically two kinds of sand. There's sharp sand and there's round sand. And the sharp sand is even less plentiful than the round sand, and it is what is required for construction. It is what is required for glass. The sharp sand is also required for fiber optics. And there's even less glass grade sharp sand due to the pollution of heavy metals, usually, in many of these sand piles. Sand is not so readily found. People see pictures of sandy beaches in the Caribbean or in the Mediterranean, and one makes the assumption that sand is everywhere, but it is not. Mostly it is, most of our beaches and coastline are rock or gravel or mud. And all sand, no sand is created by the rubbing together of giant rocks grinding themselves into little tiny particles. All sand comes from the action of creatures in the sea against silica elements such as coral and small silica outcroppings on rocks. And basically it's little fishes and other animals that grind it all up into what we call sand. And so sand is really a relatively precious commodity. And to find and locate sand inland in usable form, so for instance, most of the sand we see in deserts is not very useful. It's all round sand, it's all highly polluted with heavy metals and other material that make it basically unsuitable for good quality construction. And we know that the Chinese built the Great Wall of China, and their mortar, they used no steel, no reinforcing whatsoever. And the Great Wall of China survives because of the quality of the sand that they chose. And we know that they used 100 filters to get the sand for the mortar for the Great Wall. And we know that they mixed, soy flour in there at a rate of 10% into the mortar, and that's really what gives it its longevity. But nonetheless, it's the sand that gives it its strength. So sand is actually a relatively precious commodity. There's more mineable diamonds on this planet than there are areas of mineable sand. And so a sand mine, as silly as it may sound to those not involved in construction, is really a very hard to locate and a very precious commodity once one has found it. And thus my attention was attracted when I saw your offering come up with a coin that was unique in its sense. It was tied to sand, but even beyond that, it's not a sand-backed coin. It is a medium for delivery of sand, which is the correct way, in my opinion, to think about these things, so that you don't have a convertible coin that can yield sand. You have a coin that provides the energy to get sand to the hands of the customers, who then make a profit off of it by building things. And so really, your sand coin is an attempt to move a precious commodity into actual production to make more value on the planet. And it's my understanding that Universe provides response and value, a reward for those who provide value to what's going on. So in our last conversation, which the recording was too bad to use, you mentioned that you started off your life as a lawyer, as an advocate, and you'd been trained professionally that way. And so what actually was it that made you saw the potential for the sand?
Okay, so I can remember one more example of using the sand, because in United Arab Emirates, they have their the island made by people. So and they used not the sand from the or from the beaches, yeah. So because they needed to buy sand from elsewhere, because they cannot use the sand because it wasn't construction sand. So and it is I was in Dubai maybe 2 weeks ago, and it was like, haha, you're selling sand in Dubai, because they already had their own sand. But no, they have sand, but not construction sand.
Correct.
Yeah. So if we're talking about me as a lawyer, so as we speak, about this. My family from the from the early from the 2001, I think maybe. Yes, they started to buy and sell land properties around Moscow, and it was their own little business. Then this
They were real estate developers, correct?
yeah,
Or
they become real estate developers. So I was in school, so I didn't know what I was going to do in my life. And they said that it is a good thing that you can learn something in law to, because you know you can buy and sell a property, and it's not so it's easy to do. But you need to know laws. You need to know how to do that properly. So. Is it a good idea for you to come to our business, but not like just a manager, maybe just a lawyer, as a lawyer? So, okay, so in 2006, I finished my school studying, and then I got in the Moscow State Law University, and then it was clearly for me that this is the thing I will going to do in my life. The something like with property, with land, and the sand came after that because we in 2010, maybe 2011, we were not bankrupt, but something like that, because there was crisis in 2008 in Russia. It hit our country about maybe 2 years after. Maybe
yes, there was the 30% hit that the ruble took over those 2 years relative to the global financial crisis. Yes.
Yeah. So then there was the situation when we have land property around Moscow, but we cannot do something with that because, okay, you have a small plot of land. What will you do with that? Because you can build something, but you need money for that. You can sell it to someone, but it will be so cheap. Everyone now in Moscow region, everyone has their own small plot of land, a lot of cottages, something like that. So and so after that, my father talked to people from the construction business who build roads. Can we use our land maybe to how what we can do with our land? And they said that it is a good idea.
So at that point, your parents had acquired the land, the market had collapsed around them, and they were opening their mind to see other potentials for profit because they did not want to simply sell the property. They wanted to add value and gain profit thus.
Yes.
Okay.
You can make I don't know, maybe you can make an X2 or return of investments, but it will take maybe 3-5 years.
Yeah.
And you need money to do something. So then we talked to people from the big companies, construction companies. Do they need our sand? If we will find sand on our land. And we made an investigation on our big land, this 260 acres plot of land. And we made an investigation, and we found that, yes, we actually have the construction sand. We didn't know how many cubic meters there will be, so we needed more money, and that was maybe took about 2 years from from the start to understand how many cubic meters do we have, and can we sell it. And then something good happened because our government decided to build a big road around Moscow. It's called SCAT, Central Circle Road around Moscow, about 30 kilometers from the center of Moscow. So, and this is now one of the biggest construction places in whole Russia, one of the biggest places where you can sell your construction sand. And we have a big plot of land, we have sand, and the only thing was we need money just to start digging, to start mining. So, and then I decided to make an ICO. This is just like a short story.
Well, okay, but your ICO had been informed or triggered in your mind by your association with crypto people, or did you hear about the ICO, decide it was funding for you, and then decide to go learn about cryptos?
Oh, it was like, it was magic. Just something that happened in your life. I was in my office in Sergei Posad, some place around Moscow. I was selling my parents little plots of land, and I was in my office, and then I saw this article on Forbes about ICO, about First Blood, about I don't know, maybe Tezos. I don't really remember now. It was in April, just maybe half of a year from now. So I just read about it, and why can't we use ICO to start our real business? And everyone was just saying that it's like stupid idea, because ICO is for something like with IT business, and it was just two examples of who just had their own real business and made an ICO on that time. Just two of them. One was Kalionova. Kalionova is a farmer. He lives maybe 50 kilometers from Moscow. And the second was ZR coin, Zirconium. These two businesses was not like our business. It wasn't because a farmer, he had already his working business already. So he just needed money to explode. And the second business was just like they had their own, just like an idea that we can build a new factory, and I don't know, will it work or not. My business is just like, it's really easy to do that. You just need to buy land, find sand, and then just start mining. It's just so easy, and it was an easy business to make it, but it was a crazy idea to make an ICO. And I was just like, on every meetup, on every conference, I was just speaking about my idea, how I can make an ICO, and everyone was just like, you're crazy, you will not do that.
Right. But as we know, crazy does not mean wrong. It frequently means ahead of everyone else's vision. Yes.
Yes. So, and then the second magical thing happened, because we started our pre-ICO. I just had, I don't know, maybe I had $2,000, $10,000 at that time. And I just spent this money to make the site, to pay my IT guys to make the smart contract. Only 10K. And then second magical thing happened. You made your report, and then it was just like boom. And I'm very thankful for that. And then everyone in Russia, they understood that it is a good idea to make something real on ICO. And after that, I was just an example. How can you do that? And now I see a lot of same businesses. I see maybe a gold ICO with gold, with a lot of things, with gravel coin, a banana coin.
Right. As a funding vehicle, right. And so what people fail to realize is that, or many people were stuck into the mind idea that ICO does equal IT business. But really, ICO is simply a new form of funding, and there's always the same kind of funding needs of initial startup, proof of concept, success plus acquisition, or success plus expansion. And so you're always going to have these needs for the various kinds of funding. So the farmer has got a business, he doesn't need proof of concept, he needs to expand. ICO is good for him. Or the people that have the factory, very risky, but if they succeed, good return on the ICO. Yours far less risky because there's no long time to develop a factory and then build a product and so on. Your product is in the ground. You go buy big shovels, get people to bring their trucks and put sand in their trucks, and you're selling sand right off. So less risk, but initial funding nonetheless.
Yes, I can, as I am less risky, but I cannot guarantee X10 return of investment, just like X3, X5. And that was the second idea. I came up with this idea because you don't need to make this something like you just spend $1 and you will have 10 or 20. You can spend one, you will have three, but it will be less risky. Why don't you? I have documents, I have my license, I have all paperwork done. Why not to invest in my coin? And yes, now it's working. But at the time when I was starting, everyone just saying that I'm crazy, something like that.
Well, yes, in your situation, of course, you're going against the standard mindset, and so everybody will see you as crazy. But that all innovators, all creators are always called crazy at the beginning, and then later on we call them a different word and we call them success. Now, in your particular case here, your offering is not only one of the very first real world transport coins, an energy coin, so to speak, and getting the material to the customer, but you're not backing the coin by the material itself. It's more the work in getting it sold that is being proffered as the value behind the coin. But in addition, your model I found very intriguing because you're not out there touting 100 times return on your money. You're not trying to make people very wealthy in a very short period of time with a high risk. Rather, you're more like a bond in the sense that you have a finite run time that you can see, which is how long your sand lasts, and then you have an anticipated return for that sand that will, in essence, provide this steady state return on the SND coin over time, such that it would behave very similarly to a bond in the sense of slow but predictable appreciation over time, such that people could count on that level of return coming into them based on smooth management and a good concept. And then in addition, you recognized that your business is actually the hole in the ground, getting the sand out of your hole, and then filling the hole back up becomes a whole nother business, as you can take construction debris, non-polluting kind of stuff, and make it into a very effective landfill. And then on the third level of that business, you can cover it over with good dirt and build houses on it at that stage, or some other structures. And so you have all three phases of this all planned out, and thus provides a, what did we say, 7 to 10 year progress plan?
Something like that, yes. And it's very clear because when I was just making this white paper, I was writing the white paper, and after that, everyone just, wow, it's so easy to read. How can you do that? Now people, the market changed. You know, now it's, I just talked to people maybe a week ago. They said that you need to pay them $50,000, to make the white paper, just the white paper. And I made it in maybe 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
And it's just because of this business is so clear. It's just, there's no such things like you need to invent something. You need to invent a business model. I made it. Yes, I invented something like that, but it wasn't so hard. And it is simple business, simple white paper, simple everything, just like this.
Right. And simple works. You know, sand is simple, but it's rare. And you have a lot of people that are going to be needing sand for a number of years in your area for just that one large road, let alone everything else.
Yes, we have now our government is now in negotiations with other countries to make the new Silk Road. And the funny thing is that one of the parts of this Silk Road will be built maybe in 15 kilometers from my quarry. So this is the new way of thinking for me. Because first I was just, I thought that all the sand that we will sell will go only for this big construction. Now I understand that maybe in 3-5 years, there will be new construction and it will be bigger. And this will be a big new,
market opportunity. Yes,
the market opportunity, yes. So it's not so, maybe I'm just lucky, I don't know. But maybe it's just like I was just making something that is was a good idea.
People, okay, well, people philosophically, I don't buy into the idea of luck per se. Okay, I don't think random luck comes along and strikes people. It is luck is frequently mistaken for smart thinking and good timing, and so you have both in this regard. So I don't think it's luck. I think you had a very good vision, a clear head about what was going on, and saw the opportunity to move and merge. And so you were very creative in that sense, merging what had been an IT exclusive property in with the commodity that you're dealing with and making a nice meld of that for the real world. And you came up with the idea of burning sand coins. So, you know, and maintaining price parity with the sand across time in a very nice way. It was very elegant, very clean, very simple. And in the IT business as a programmer, I like simple. Simple works.
Yes. I'm not an economist. I'm a lawyer. So the buyback program is something like I was just came in maybe. I think when I was writing the white paper, it was just like, as I said, magic. Because now you're saying that this is a good idea to burn sand coins to make this buyback program, and it will work.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm really appreciate that you're understanding how this will work, because some people just for now they don't understand how it will work, and I'm just trying to explain and explain and explain. Maybe just because I'm not an economist, I just made an idea. It will work, but I need to, maybe I need to hire an economist.
No, proof of concept will be the demonstration of it working itself. The idea is very simple. It's technically feasible. And what you're facing is the audience that there is for the ICOs at the moment has been trained to think of ICOs as coins or commodities themselves, not funding for new business. And if you think about it that way, then all of the value is in the appreciation of the coin, not in the delivery of value from the business to the customer that makes it valuable. So you're at a unique period of time as we transition from Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, which are platforms. We're transitioning into Sandcoin, which is an operation that runs on those platforms and is independent from the coin concept and is perhaps misnamed in that sense. But we don't want to call them shares because they're not shares in the sense of the old style Wall Street kind of market. These are not what we're doing these days. That model is no longer appropriate. So in this period of time where the business models themselves are crumbling around us and people like yourself are creating new ones, it is understandable that our audience, our combined audience, will express confusion about exactly what is being proffered to them because they see Bitcoin and one model working, and here you're calling yours a coin, as it is, but nonetheless, it's an entirely different business model. And so it takes a while for someone to wrap their head around it and say, aha, I understand. I'm not going to buy Sandcoin thinking that the same process that makes Bitcoin valuable will make Sandcoin valuable. That indeed we're dealing with something else with Sandcoin, and the something else with Sandcoin is very remarkable because it has a known calculated and calculatable time progression for its value curve. Unlike Bitcoin, which is anybody's guess,
Yeah.
And so, and it depends on network effect and adoption and so on. None of this stuff impacts your business model. Your business model is impacted by people needing sand because they've got to build things. So, it's about as simple as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you a story. Maybe I have a minute or something.
Sure.
When I was just making this Sandcoin, everyone just saying that the Sandcoin is a good name for the project. And it's just so funny because really Sandcoin, Bitcoin. So, okay. 2 days ago, my friend, maybe you know him, maybe you have an email from him, Andre.
Andre, yes.
He called me He was so confused. He was laughing. And okay, so what happened? There is a podcast in Australia. The podcast is about UFOs, Bigfoot, magical things from the universe. Nothing with Bitcoin, nothing with cryptocurrencies. Just because Andrei was listening to this podcast maybe for a year, and he was in a train or on a bus. He was just listening to a new episode of this podcast, and then they was just, oh, and it's good thing, it's funny thing to invest in Sandcoin. And in Australia, podcast about UFO, big, and he just wrote them that this is funny thing, that something magical happens in this world, and they said that for them it was just so funny that you can invest in Sandcoin, the quarry in Russia, and just imagine that I'm in Russia, you're somewhere in, I think, in Canada or something. They are from Australia, and we're talking about Sandcoin, the quarry in Moscow region.
Amazing world, absolutely amazing. But it makes sense too that the UFOs, the space aliens, the Bigfoot crowd would be among the first to take advantage of the entire cryptocurrency space, because their minds are open. They're not so rigid. They're not trained to think of money equals paper dollars or paper rubles or something. Their minds are open to new ideas, and in fact, they're actively searching for such. They're out there looking for UFOs and ET and stuff, and they stumble over the idea of cryptocurrencies, and they think, well, that's not a bad idea. Maybe I should get some of these.
Yeah. So funny.
It is. It's a very hilarious world, but universe is very interesting because it does reward value. In my life, this has been proven to me. And universe also provides the opportunity for the astute mind to see where value may lay. And so you're very young, but you're very astute. You see that there's a combination of things that make each of those things more valuable than they would be on their own. The ICO plus the Sandcoin plus the ultimate quarry and all of this as it goes along. Now, getting back to something I don't want to forget, you have had your sand tested, yes?
Yes. So I'm just not so good in English, so I cannot describe all these
The parameters, sure.
The parameters, yes. But to make it clearly, so you have the fractions of the sand, and there are small fraction of the sand, bigger and bigger and bigger, and you have sand from the river, different types of sand, and it all can go to constructions, but in different for the different constructions. Some sand will go for the road, some maybe for the building houses. So what I have on every quarry, maybe I think you know that on every quarry you have different types of the sand, different the fractions of them, and most of the fractions I have is not the big fractions of the sand. They are just like an average. They're an average, but as I know that we have a small river, you can see it in the video if you see on our site. So we have a small river, and this water will come to our quarry after that, and we have this. The sand will be cleared by our equipment. So this sand will be clear and with an average
particle size. So
yeah.
in English, then to restate it, you're going to have you have a source of water. You have the mechanism to clean the sand. In the process of cleaning the sand, you're able to separate it out into gradients, small to large. Most of your sand is in the nice average range, applicable different ways.
Yes. So, and the thing is that everyone is just asking me, why do we have this high quality sand on our site? Why is it high quality? It is not high quality as you just. It's the biggest, the clearest. No, it's just so high quality for our construction, for the construction roads. And you cannot use this sand to, maybe to making glass or something like that. You need another sand. But for the construction, it will be the best of the best.
And so your ratio of sharp sand to rounded out sand is very high. And so your use for cement and in any kind of concrete application for your sand, the vast majority of your sand is just perfect for that sort of application.
Yes, we have these cement factories. We're now in negotiations because they will need not just our papers, they will need our sand to investigate, to understand, will they buy it, how can they use it, or something like that. Because you can have all types of documents. You can just show them that your sand is the high quality, but you need to prove it. So before we start sand mining, I cannot just say that I have another business model to sell it to someone else. Now I can just talk about the road construction, because road construction guys came to my quarry and they personally make some holes, dig some holes on my quarry, and they really understand that they will use our sand. So I cannot ask guys from the factories to come to my quarry. So we will see. We will see.
Right, but so your largest local potential customers, the cement people that are supplying for the road, have come and decided, using their own random tests, that your quarry provides a good base for their building going forward.
They use the cement used not only for the roads. They use cement for another constructions, and there are several types of cement. So
Right.
so the thing is, for the construction roads, we can use our sand in just two ways to clear all the holes. They will have the holes when they will start the road. And the second is to make just, how can I describe this? When you're making the road, you have this like the asphalt and the
substrate.
Yes, yes. So some of our sand can be used for that, but not every.
Right. And and so based on your potential customers' needs that you can estimate now, your calculations are that your quarry will operate as a productive sand quarry for probably maybe 7 years, maybe 10 years, but certainly 5, correct?
Certainly 5, yes. In the next year, in 2018, the new program of renovation is coming to Moscow. We will demolish all the old buildings and we'll build new ones. So our sand, I hope we will sell it for them. But this is just like, when I'm talking about 7 to 10 years, it's something like only for the construction, for the road construction. If we will sell it for the renovation program, I think maybe 5 years from now.
Right. Yeah. Which is it's a very nice position to be in, to sell out early, so to speak, and get your hole empty for the next phase of the operation. Yeah, especially if you could, if your timing was good, then perhaps your holes, you may have a small hole somewhere just about the time that the demolition starts, and you can use the demolition of the old material into the hole as you're clearing out the rest of the hole. And so everybody benefits. They can bring demolition material and haul sand back. Yes,
and as you just said about the timing, the problem is, when I was just saying about that, I will start the quarry with ICO or without ICO this year, it's just because the next year we need to start mining. We don't have more time. It's now or never. So as we just speaking to you, we have 2 days left of the ICO. We already have the soft cap, and we already have money to start sand mining. So I think that the timing is good, and we will make all the. As I speak, my guys now in the Moscow region, they are working with the government on the final paperwork, and we will show all the papers to the buyers of the SMD. I hope in a month or two. So
very good. Yeah. So your In the rest of the ICO, or many of the ICOs, they have a beta release period where they show everybody the work so far before they release it out. And so your documentation reveal would be the equivalent of your beta release ahead of actually going into production, which you anticipate to be in the first quarter of next year, 2018, correct?
Yes, yes. So, and as I'm a lawyer, so the first thing I've done about the ICO was the paperwork about the ICO, and everyone just asking me, why don't you have the company not in Russia? Because maybe you need to register a company in Cyprus or somewhere else. Do it now, do it now, do it now. Hurry up, because you have an ICO, and I would just come down. I'm a lawyer. I will make it clear, and I will make it easy to understand when I will register a company. Now I have a company in Gibraltar, but I'm a lawyer. I'm not speaking of the that we need to make everything clear for the investors. I need to make everything clear for the government.
Yes, yes, to make sure that you don't have those obstacles going forward. No,
Yeah.
I really appreciate that aspect of it, especially since government is also in a transition along with the population into a new way of doing business, a new form of currency. It's difficult for government to wrap their head around all of the issues that are involved, and to not plan for interactions with government thinking is a very stupid approach in dealing with any ICO in any country, because all governments will be affected. Many of them may react badly, and in which case it helps to have an advocate to guide them through to proper thinking.
Yeah, I was just invited to the government several times, but I don't want to go there before I end the ICO, because I don't know what to say to them. They just don't understand how all these things work now. Maybe you heard that our president decided to make the crypto ruble. Yeah.
Yeah.
They will make their own cryptocurrency, but the funny thing that they don't understand why they need to do that. They just doing it just because everyone is making their own cryptocurrencies.
As we say here, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yes, this is a good idea for them. Maybe, I don't know. They want to control everything, but it is a blockchain. You cannot control the blockchain.
Yeah, you cannot control anything. Yes. Yeah. The most you can do is to invite cooperation and hope you ask nicely.
Yes. A week ago or something, they said that they will, as we speak, they want to ban all the transactions in Russia with their cryptocurrencies. And then I said that, okay, you want to have taxes from the cryptocurrency world. Okay, make something with that. I can pay taxes if you want. Just make something like a law where I can go and pay your taxes. They just don't understand that. But I hope maybe in half of a year they will present their own crypto ruble, and maybe there will be some laws. They will control our cryptocurrency world. I hope that they will not ruin everything.
It seems very difficult for them to be able to ruin everything. They may be a temporary blockage like some governments are. Over here we have our government, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, trying to decide if they have legal authority over cryptocurrencies. And one side of them says they do, but the other side says, well, even if we do, we don't want it because we don't understand it. It's very difficult to manage, and we'll never manage to corral this, control it. So it's very difficult for governments all around. Governments don't move very fast. I think maybe crypto ruble is a year out, not 6 months. Difficult for them to get the programming talent and all of this. But maybe you could take a minute here and speak to the business climate in Moscow and throughout Russia. Is it optimistic? Is it growing? More and more people looking at the ICO world?
Yes. So let me explain. If we're talking about ICOs, everyone just speaking the funny thing that last year everyone just talking about Pokemon Go, and now everyone talking about Bitcoin and blockchain in Russia. I don't know, maybe not only in Russia, but in Russia, Bitcoin is one of the most used words. ICO is good, and everyone is making something like an ICO or an exchange for the Bitcoin. It's okay. But if we're speaking about the business climate, everyone waiting for the 2018 elections. Yes. So I think that before that there will be no changes in our business climate, and after that it all depends on the Putin thoughts, what he will do with our country. I hope that he is not so I don't know, old for that. I hope so. I understand that for the next few years there will be more construction, renovation program, and all this stuff. And I hope the developers will make money, as I'm going to become a developer in a few years, I think. So business climate in Russia, it wasn't so good about after the Crimea crisis, and now we just I don't know, maybe. Oh, it's so hard.
It's very difficult, very complex. I understand. Yes, I understand. And we have the government to government contention, the irritation that one government's actions cause on another, and we have butt heads, idiots that are in charge of governments, mine included, that cause problems for people just because they are butt heads and they have their own agenda. And so it's going to be a difficult 5 years. But I applaud your decision not to relocate the firm outside of the borders. There's going to be a real payoff for you in terms of what our predictive linguistics show, in that those companies that are rooted and are seated in their geography, that work through the problems with the governments, will be very much more rewarded than those that choose to try and make a little extra profit somewhere else and relocate in the meantime and come back and are fickle, so to speak, for their loyalties. It's an interesting thing 3 to 4 years out from now in our data, when the world is much more cryptocurrency oriented and the governments themselves are in the change process that has occurred to us maybe 5 or 6 years ago as individual citizens. And so they're going to lag behind us about 10 years, but that 10-year lag will provide companies like yours a very well-deserved seat at the table that influences government's thinking. And so that's, and already you see the response the universe has provided you personally for putting your good ideas together. And many people, I'm sure, are coming to you and saying, please consult with me, show me how you did this. And sooner or later, government will say, could you come in and talk to us, please? We need some thoughts.
They already asked me for that, but not now.
So, a little busy, yes.
Yeah, I'm a little busy. The first is that I am in Russia. I don't live somewhere else, and I don't care about the ACC, all this stuff. I live in Russia. I'm not an American citizen, and I don't care what they are thinking about my ICO, because
Sure. They're way on the other side of the ocean. To hell with them.
And the second thing is, I should not care about that because my query is in Russia.
Yes.
I'm not an IT business, and I cannot go to the Cyprus or somewhere else. I need to live here, to work here, and I really, with all the respect to our government, I am not going to fight with them. I just want to have a conversation.
Exactly. There's no point to fighting. Right. It never really works when you're fighting with government, and they're really asking for help, no matter how angry they may appear at the time.
Yes. So they're not so stupid as I think. Just they need some time. We need some time. We will come up with something. They will come up with something, and we will make something like a new cryptocurrency world. And maybe Russia will be one of the first countries with their own cryptocurrency, maybe with their own exchange or something like that for the cryptocurrency. They already speak about that. So it's
Well,
okay.
to that point, you were speaking earlier about Bitcoin being a very much used word in Russia. Now, you live in Moscow, Moscow extremely cosmopolitan. Is what you're saying true outside of Moscow? Could you go to a
Yeah.
small village and people understand Bitcoin?
Uh, the funny thing is that yes. The we're now just doing our interview, but I don't have a lot of time because after that I will make an interview to the there is a meetup in Yekaterinburg about cryptocurrencies to the guys from the factory owners, and they are waiting for me to speak to them. So in Chelyabinsk, in Yekaterinburg, in Krasnodar, in all these cities, they are already they are talking about the blockchain, they're talking about the Bitcoins, and I don't think, yes, Moscow is a very cosmopolitan city, and Moscow, in Russia, we have this phrase that Moscow is not Russia. Because,
True.
yes, so, but when we speak about blockchain and we speak about Bitcoin, I'm in a real business, and everyone from Perm, from Ural cities, they are calling me, Ruslan, can you show us how can we make an ICO? We have our own quarries.
Sure.
So yeah,
Or we want to make cheese or we want to make wine,
yeah.
whatever it is. Yes. Yes.
So yes, the blockchain in Russia is one of the most popular things to do now, I think, and not only in Moscow. And this is amazing for me. This is amazing, really.
Yeah, in now in the United States, that is not true. Even in Seattle, I could go very cosmopolitan city. Maybe only 5 out of 10 people really would. Almost everybody probably has heard of Bitcoin. But in I can walk around in my town, which is the state's capital, and many people have no concept. They've not even heard it. And then I can go over to the coast in some of our small villages, and you say Bitcoin, and the people say to you, yeah, I have heard that word. But
Mhm.
that's as far as it goes. They don't really understand it. So Russia is indeed leading at a citizen awareness level in the general population over the United States in the concept of cryptocurrencies. I see this in the language itself. I don't have the ability to monitor Russian language on TV. It goes too fast for my ears. I can't decode it. But when I read it, I see the many references, even in small blog in Minsk, right? Talking about very in-depth cryptocurrency things. So it was easy for my spiders to find Sandcoin. Even though you had just barely started, I was able to get that because many people were talking about this crazy idea of a coin tied to sand. And I thought, no, not crazy, brilliant, better than gold. Gold has real problems. You tie a coin to gold, government comes and takes your gold, you've got no more coin. Or your gold is stolen, you've got no more coin. But you tie your coin to getting something out of the ground and into the hand of the customer, it's an energy vehicle, not a convertible currency. And so lots of those problems go away. And so I thought, okay, Sandcoin, this is going to be very, very nice. It's going to do very well.
Thank you. I just remembered that as we speak about the Bitcoin in Russia, um, maybe 100 meters from my office from here, I can go to Lavka. This is a store. They sell farmer products, and I can buy farmer products for the Bitcoin
On
already.
your phone, off your telephone?
No. Maybe 100 meters from now, there is a store where I
No, no,
can
no.
buy.
I mean, but when you pay the Bitcoin at the
Yes,
farmer market,
with
yes,
the phone. Yes,
in the
yes.
phone.
Yeah, so and it is amazing that we can use the Bitcoin. Now it's not legal, but we can do that. Okay, so my people just coming. Um, what I was just saying.
Well, okay, but we were just another idea there. So at this stage in your business climate, the government does not have any clear plan for how they intend to be able to extract taxes. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, I think they will first they will ban everything, and then they will decide how to take taxes. And I think everyone is going to to give them what they want. This is not a big problem. Just the big problem is them to understand that Bitcoin is not something bad, and maybe make some laws about that. And we have central bank in Russia. The central bank is they just want to ban everything. I don't know why.
It's a competition, direct competition to their offering, which is the paper ruble.
Yes, and we have our minister of I don't know how it's so the minister of the internet, the communications, minister of communications. Yes, and he said that it's okay. We can make a crypto ruble. We can use the Bitcoin. We will use Bitcoin in our transactions. So they are fighting with each other in the government. So,
right. Well, next time you talk to the government, tell them that their solution is really very simple. That what they need to do, in my opinion, would be to make the crypto ruble the only acceptable cryptocurrency for paying taxes, and then to make an exchange that would allow the crypto ruble to be exchanged for other cryptocurrencies in order to be able to pay taxes. This would do two things. It would give them their tax revenue, but it would also provide a platform that would allow for the free exchange and thus the valuation of one cryptocurrencies against the crypto ruble, and provide essentially the same kind of control over the taxing process that they have now through the central bank.
Yeah, I thought about that. And the minister of communications, he said that yes, we will do something just like you described it, and the tax will be there will be no you will pay only 13% to the government, and everything else will be yours. So yeah, it's just
now let me repeat that for clarity. You were saying 13%?
Yes, 13.
Yeah, that's very nice. That's a very attractive corporate tax rate. Some countries do very well at 15% even. Countries like ours don't do so well because our tax rate is extremely high. But no, it makes very, very nice sense to have 13%. It's just the right number for keeping the government going, but not crippling the building of the new currency.
Yes, in Russia we don't have our taxes is not so big. We just but the problem is in Russia you cannot pay taxes directly. Maybe you will pay the how to say that, something that you will not show to everyone, just to the government. So,
I understand. Yeah.
Yes. The corruption.
It's that way all over, really. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, so at this point, your next your personal work at this stage, then, as the ICO winds down over the next couple of days, is to work on the documentation, getting that through the government, and getting all of the appropriate stamps and everything required, such that you can say, okay, now we can start actually digging our hole.
Yes, digging our hole. Yes. So yes, we just need the final document, and they already saw our document before. After I started the ICO, and when I understood that I will have money for that, I made it all over again, all the paperwork done all over again, and now I think maybe it will take about 2 months from now, 2 or 3 months, maybe less.
Okay, and so then you're you have a personnel issues dealt with. You know who your quarry manager is going to be. You know the kind of machinery you're going to buy, etc.
Yes. The thing is, I am not the construction builder or something. I'm a lawyer, but
Right.
I have these guys. They already have their own quarries in Nizhny Novgorod. So they will come with their own equipment. We will buy some equipment here that we don't need to transport, and we will start sand mining, I think, in April next year.
And are there weather constraints on the mining? Is this a mine that can operate 12 months out of the year, or are you shut down in winter?
Not every winter. It depends on the climate changes. There was this year. It wasn't so good for the sand mining because the construction season started just in the May, but the year before it was just like in February. So it all
It
depends. On
just
the climate.
depends on the ground, right? You can't do anything if the ground is frozen. Yes.
Yes, yes. So I hope that we will do. As I told you, that April, I think it's a good time to start because it's not so cold, and I hope that we will have, because we don't need to actually start sand mining to dig up the hole.
Right.
First, that we need to do is something like to build a road. We need about maybe a month or month and a half to just to start sand mining. And
Sure,
then,
to actually build out your own infrastructure on your property
yeah.
that allows you to move your equipment around and this kind of thing. Yes.
So,
And do you have are there constraints on your activity from government in the sense that you will have government come and monitor you to make sure you're doing things correctly?
yes, they have their own. I don't know how to say it in English. Their own guys, like shaders or something.
Oh,
They will
inspectors.
inspectors, yes, and every 4 months they will come to my quarry to see. The thing is, they will come just to make an inspection of how many cubic meters of sand we already solved. They don't need our papers for that. They just
Right.
need to make the investigation from the. They know. They just need to make the investigation how many holes that we made, and so it's, for them it's just so clear.
Yeah, real straightforward then. Okay, yeah. Well, it sounds very good. It sounds very nice, very congenial, easy to work business environment, given the natural obstacles of where we all are in history and the newness of the ICOs, the newness of the cryptocurrencies and all of that intruding. Yes. And your, any final points I should let you go, but any final points you want to discuss?
I just want to, as I already told you that, and I want to many great thanks for you. Just
Yes.
Clif High. Just when I started all these things, everyone just saying that I'm stupid, that I'm crazy, and after the report, after that you said that it's an amazing idea, everyone just like, let me check the white paper. Oh, yes, it's not so bad.
It's just a question of looking further. They would have gotten to it eventually, right? They just, it takes a bald guy someone with no hair to say, oh, yes, go look at that.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm much hope for continued success. I'm sure you guys will do very well, and I look forward to seeing you as a very large mover and shaker, we call them, in the 10 years in the future here as your projects will work out. Because I'm sure 4 or 5 years from now you'll be involved in some other new ones as well, and we will be speaking about those at that time.
I hope that too. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for redoing this. I'm so sorry for the technical problems on our first interview.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's just when I was just the message from you that you don't have the voice, you don't have the sound, and I was just like, it's okay, but we spent a great time with.
It was fun for me, but I had nothing to offer the people that wanted to see the video. So I will put this up unedited so that we will upload it here fairly rapidly to my channel, and then I will put it out on Twitter and let it go on the social media. So we should get some coverage from it today. And we did not insult anybody. We've been very congenial about all of this, and I think people will receive it very well. It's a very smart idea to do Sandcoin. And it's the model, by the way, for what I was expecting to see with gold. All these people with their gold coins are going about it wrongly, but someone will get the Ruslan idea on this, and they will do it appropriately in the future. And that will be fun to look at, but it won't be as interesting as sand.
Thank you for that too.
Okay, thank you very much, and we'll stop now, and I will connect with you later via email.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye. Okay, those are off.